At the foot of Tian Shan Mountains are the ruins of an ancient temple called the Subash Buddhist remains. It is divided into two sections, and it's still possible to see the rows of niches that once housed statues of the Buddha. Built in the middle of the 3rd century AD, the temple reached its peak during the 6th century AD when it was a meeting place for eminent monks. Over 1,200 years ago, 6,000 monks would gather weekly at the stupa to discuss and exchange Buddhist teachings. It's so surreal being here. You can almost still feel the spiritual aura that surrounds the place. There are many accounts revealing how important this site was to Buddhism. There's even a reference to it in Journey to the West. Archaeologists have unearthed scriptures here written in a unique script found nowhere else in the world. Amongst the findings were also scriptures written in the Chutsu language, proving that Chutsu was once a center of Buddhism. What's amazing to me is that I can still see the outlines of the monks' rooms and the temple's structures. You really get a sense of past glory at this incredible place. From Kucha, we drive past the Tian Shan Mountains to Kashgar. The multicolored mountains along the way are surreal. They almost look like a painting. Kashgar was once an important stop on the Silk Road and a center of commerce. In the Uighur language, the word Kashgar means a place of many different residences. At the center of Kashgar is Itka Mosque, the symbol of the city where everything here revolves around. Kashgar is one of the most culturally rich cities in China. It's interesting to discover that here, specialty crafts are confined to different neighborhoods. Some are known for their ironwork, for instance, and others for their wood carving or pottery. Now, one such neighborhood is Bishi. Bishi is located in the southeastern part of Kashgar's old city. The neighborhood dates back more than 1,000 years. By the way, the name Bishi means pottery at the edge of a cliff. These days, however, there are few potters still left here. Most of the menfolk have found jobs that take them away from home. Still, it's a fascinating place to wander through. There are 40 narrow zigzagging streets where it's pretty easy to get lost. But what better way to meet the women and children who remain? Most of the women in this neighborhood make and sell traditional handicrafts such as the dopa, the traditional Uighur hat. The neighborhood of Bishi has about 640 families. Some of these homes date back about 500 years, and most of these homes are involved in some form of handicraft or pottery, so you can buy like a local souvenir from here if you like. I'm going to try and get some. But before you even think of entering a home, take a careful look at the door. In the Bishi neighborhood, the main door is in two parts. If both parts are closed, it means there are no men at home and only female guests are allowed in. If one door is open, there is a man at home and all guests are welcome. And if both doors are open, the owners of the house already have guests, but you're more than welcome to join them. Don't be fooled by the modest exterior of these homes. Once inside, you'll see that the Uighur people place far more emphasis on the interior of their homes. The window and pillars are intricately carved with traditional Muslim engravings. And it's obvious that the Uighur people take great pride in their homes.
Oh boy. Oh. Okay, I can't exactly see how many stories that is, but it looks like a lot. All right, let's go for a climb. Man, that felt like I was on the Stairmaster. Not good. Apparently, Uighur families, instead of building outwards because of the lack of space, they build upwards. That's pretty cool. Entire Uighur families, gotta catch my breath. Entire Uighur families live in this compound. And, I mean, really? Would you like to live with your in-laws? I don't think I would. Next floor. You know what? I don't think I'm fat, right? But this opening is impossibly small. Look at that. I mean, how is somebody bigger than me supposed to fit through this? Either they're really small and skinny, or I'm just a little bit too big. Third floor, pretty cool. And already the view is amazing. You should see it. Trees and buildings, the old city against the new city. I love the fact that there's a contrast. So beautiful. Finally reached the top.
Yiminaha and her family welcome me into their home and tell me that a few men here still keep the 500-year people still method of Uighur pottery making alive. Like her son, Bishi, he comes from the longest line of potters in the Bishi neighborhood. He inherited the skills from his father, who got them from his father, and so on, back through many generations. The traditional potter's wheel is powered by the foot, leaving both hands free to create beautiful Uighur-style pottery pieces. It must take years of practice, not to mention considerable skill to achieve that coordination. It's sort of like patting your head and rubbing your stomach at the same time. Most of the pottery made here is practical, stuff like jugs, bowls, plates, and vases. If you come to Yimini Han's home, you'll find that like any mother, she's proud of everything her son makes. In her case, it's to her son's pottery. For most Uyghurs, the handicrafts they make are a useful source of income. The streets of Kashgar are lined with great places to shop for a little something to take home or gifts for family and friends. What a fantastic chance to shop for some early Christmas presents. There are items ranging from doppas to pottery, iron, kitchenware, furniture, and traditional Uighur instruments. These neat rows of shops are more than just a shopper's heaven. They're also perfect for just hanging out and watching the Uighur craftsmen at work. And once you realize just how much dedication has gone into making the final product, somehow making your purchase becomes that little bit more special. The streets are filled with a symphony of the sounds from the craftsmen at work. Now, I've heard there's a place around the corner that specializes in making Uighur instruments. I'm really curious.
Look, they've made this out of blocks of wood that big. This is the traditional instrument that they've used. So that's the back, and this is the front, the clay. I hear that the shop is nearby, so let's walk, and it makes it more convenient because, I mean, there are no delivery charges, and yeah, it's just right next door.
No one objects if you want to try playing the traditional instruments, but if you find them a little too complex, you can always strum the miniature versions instead. You may be surprised by who you meet here. I came across some Spanish tourists who were just as keen on the miniature instruments as I was. I happen to love visiting local markets, and I hear that if you're looking for a little bit of local Kashgar flavor, there's nowhere finer than the Central Asia International Grand Bazaar. My friend Eleanor accompanies me to help score some bargains. If you're looking for material for that new silk shirt, this is just the place to come. But it's not just about the clothes. If you want to add a little Xinjiang to your home, there are plush carpets, beautiful vases, intricately decorated teapots, plates, and mirrors to browse over. The Uighur people are exceptionally good businessmen. Perhaps this is a trait from the days of the Silk Road. Most of the businesses here, like the handicrafts, are passed down from generation to generation. Don't be afraid to ask if you want to have a look at something. They're more than happy to show it to you. Rows of spices, preserved fruit, and nuts line the aisles, and the vendors yell out, offering passersby a taste of their produce. And when you've had your fill, you may need to buy clothing of a larger size. I'm not quite sure if fur is my thing, but if it's yours, you know where to come.
Look at this. I reckon it's quite nice. I don't want it.
Don't forget your family and friends back home. There are local souvenirs ranging from handcrafted wood to replicas of the traditional instruments. And if there's space in your bags, why not pick up one or two of the cotton-filled sleeping mats used by the locals? But here's a word of advice. Be sure you know exactly where the exits are before you run out of cash.
Again, 谢谢. We've traveled along the Silk Road from Kusha to Kashgar, and even after 2,000 years, it's still a hub for traders. It's bustling and it's full of energy, movement, and life. It's an amazing journey. Well, you know what? I'm all shopped out at the Central Asia International Grand Bazaar. Oh my God, what a tongue twister. Anyway, thanks for watching Travelogue. It's your turn to shop now. I'll see you later. This is Michelle Lean saying, hush, goodbye.